Okay. So, hear me out. Y'all are waiting for an apocalypse, right? Like I was waiting for an apocalypse. And then I asked why. I was like why? Why do I feel like the world is gonna end? Right? But then at the same time, we've never been like this before with everything that we have. So I started reading, right? I started reading the part of the Bible that everyone's like tripping about. And I noticed something. I was like, I didn't notice it before. It's like 3 parts, 3 separate things that have to happen before, like, in the Bible, Jesus comes back. Like everything is fixed. Everything's good, right? There's 3 parts. There's the apocalypse. There's the 1,000 years of Christ. And then and then there's the time that Satan is released again for a time. Those 3 things, and then the great judgment of the, what is it? The great throne, white, shit. It just had to be white, but the great white throne, that's when everyone is judged forever, and it's donezo, and everyone that ever followed Satan will be thrown in the pit forever, burning sulfur. Right? So like, I like to think things through. I'm super specific about shit. So here, hold on. We live now, and we look at the whole world. Like, we can see the whole world, right? Like, everything that's ever happened in it, and everything that had ever come from everything. But all of the stuff that's, like, relevant happened within, like, how long? Not that long. Like, if it's 2023, then, so Jesus was here 2023 years ago, right? By the calendar. Hear me out. I know. This is hard. But does it not seem like the world already ended? And then Bo Burnham also kind of said it. You say the whole world's ending, but it already did, right? And so if it already did, hear me out, then that means we are living in the time of Christ, right? Or we have been. And so I tried to figure out what did that mean? What does that mean? In the Bible, it's pretty much Jesus is everywhere, spreads across the whole world through Christianity in one form or another. And people read the Bible everywhere. And then there is no more disease, and death is defeated. Like, those are like the main points. There's other stuff too. I can't remember because I'm obviously like dumb for the most part. But from what I read, that's the main points. He fulfills his promises. But also there's a resurrection. right? There's the first resurrection before the resurrection during judgment. And for the first resurrection, I just couldn't help but feel like reincarnation, right? Like, I always assumed you just kind of track it back all the way through the beginning of time. You're like, oh, okay, so my soul existed forever. But it would make more sense in a linear fashion, just say start to end, that I was before somehow, and now I am here again, right? And so then I started thinking about all the different stories of reincarnation and everything. How far back does it really go? And specifically in the time of Christ, in the 1,000 years, you have the saints and the people that worshipped Christ and were killed for him for spreading the word. They come back and they're here during the time of Christ. And okay, so now we're through two parts. The apocalypse, from, is the destruction of the old world, potentially. Everything that we just can't even begin to understand. Like the fact that Babylon was a real place. Like a real place, and now it's destroyed. You hear stories of it, but what the fuck is Babylon? Right? So it's gone. It was destroyed. Just like it says in the Bible that it will be. Will never be seen again. But it says that in Revelations for the apocalypse. So this is where I'm having my trouble, because it doesn't really say how long the apocalypse lasts. And then we can sort of mark maybe where the reign of Christ would be by potentially where the Bible becomes widespread throughout the world. But then the hardest part, because all of it's just a mind game, is that it's during the time of Christ, after the 1,000 years, that Satan is loosed upon the world again. And for me, I have a hard time with this, because it's during Christ's reign, after 1,000 years in the Bible, that Satan is released. And then after being out for a time and gathering the four corners of the earth for war, it's then when there's shit goes down, and then Satan is thrown into the hellfire forever, and everyone who's following him. But instead of me feeling like we're waiting for the world to end, it doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like that's the difference between people. You have people who are just alive by the grace of God, and you have people that are scared by Satan, the fear of anything but God. So it's almost painful at this point to think about it, that I've, why did I entertain for so long the idea that the world is going to end? Is it because that helps me? Or is it easier to think about? Or is it because Satan was released and he's been walking around in a way that has never been able to walk around before? Released in the time of Christ. So what does that look like? And for me, I look at it and I just, the ending of World War II at the very latest, if not, the beginning. But to massacre how many people and at the same time release such an utter destruction that we still can't even stop talking about it. Like, what Oppenheimer is a dramatic representation of what? Opening Pandora's box. If we're gonna use those, like old archetypes, but if you look at it in biblical terms, it's Satan being released back on earth because nothing is more destructive. Nothing could cause more pain, but nothing has ever caused more fear as nuclear weapons. And no matter what any people could cry out to our leaders and otherwise to say, hey, we don't want these things, it's the man, according to the Bible, is not able or meant to put Satan back into the box. And so, after spending almost 26 years in a state of believing that we're closer to the end than everything, I realized that I was right. But it wasn't the end in a bad way. It's the end as it's always been the end that I've experienced, as in a dream, finally coming to its conclusion, as in the fulfillment of the purpose of this, of all of this. What's the point of life? I think that it's the same thing that's stated in Genesis in the beginning. God did all of these things to separate the light from the darkness, to have the shift to see what it was, to know that it was good. And within all of us, we understand ourselves as creation, for us to choose a side, for us to be able to see by faith. By faith in what? By faith in knowing that you are here as the creation and as a reflection of the Creator, and to know that to fear anything, even to take upon yourself the victimhood of fearing what the Creator could do to you, that's a trick of Satan, is that you fear anything because it's not yours. I'm here, but it's not mine. The whole world was here way before me, and I'm here, but I know better than to say that I'm part of it. I'm a witness to it, and I'm a witness to myself, and I'm a witness to all these other people. And so what I'm saying is that I believe to be a witness to Christ in this time is to see the light and to reflect the light and to never stop, because the line is being drawn between what is light and what is dark. And you can't fear Satan and love God at the same time. And it's said that God will be quick to judge in the last days. So I guess I'm here to just tell you it's a choice. Choose to have faith in something bigger than yourself, more powerful than yourself, something that has existed and will exist forever, versus the temporary sensations of now. Because it's not real. The only thing that's real is love or fear.